What's up guys, it's Mitch from the DIYRecordingstudio.com, and today we have some awesome industry news that's been going on for the last couple of weeks with lots of cool, exciting new hardware for home studios. Behringer are at it again with potentially a very exciting hardware release. Tascam have released their flagship 24-channel console aimed at beginner studios. An awesome new company has sprung up called Z&H Designs, and they have some amazing recreations of vintage analog hardware, and we'll definitely go through some of their new products. DIYRE have shipped their 73p, their Neve style preamp, and I've got an awesome plugin as always to show you at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that one. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. So Behringer are at it again, and a couple of weeks ago they made this announcement. They said, we've been releasing some really high-end signal processors recently, and many of you have asked about reviving the Fairchild. This is probably the most exciting thing they said. We believe we could produce this sought-after piece of equipment for under $1,500. Now, if you're familiar with what the Fairchild is, it is one of the most expensive hardware units that you can potentially buy. And here's one for sale. Oh my God, for $300,000 US. Oh my God, it's just insane. And look, people are willing to pay crazy prices for vintage gear. And the question might be that you're asking, why is this compressor worth so much? It's very famous. There are very few of them left. A very complex tube and transformer design where it's the tubes themselves that are actually doing the compression. It's a very new compressor. With all those tubes and the transformers, it's an expensive design just, basically there. Then because it is such a rare product, they're always fetching crazy prices. Tascam have their own version of this. They sell it for around $5,000 US, and it has all the parts going on there. So yeah, like Behringer are claiming that they can make one for around $1,500. Obviously that'd be US. And I said here, before we embark on this journey, we'd like to gather your feedback. Would you be interested in us creating this unit? We can't promise to make this unit, and for now we're only gathering customer feedback. Some people on the internet went a bit wild with this one. It's a very, very exciting possibility, because who doesn't want an affordable Fairchild? I would happily take one. However, if you're not familiar with very new compressors, there are heaps of options. You don't have to just rely on the ones from Stam. I actually have a pair of very new compressors from IGS. They're Tube Core 500s. There are heaps of very new options. Are they the exact same as a Fairchild? Obviously not. There are compromises to be made on cost. You can't have all those tubes and all those transformers for a really, really low cost. $5,000 on offering from Stam is probably a really fair kind of price for the amount of hardware that's involved in making that circuit. Anyway, let me know in the comment sections down below. Are you excited for the potential of Behringer releasing a Fairchild compressor? They've already done some crazy shit in the last couple of months. They've dropped a stereo Neve clone. They've dropped a stereo Neve 33609. They're going all out, definitely looking at the gaps in the market that people are hungry for. And if they're going to make this cool stuff at an affordable price, we're the winners. We can debate in the comment sections how genuine these products would be, but if they sound cool, they're cool, man. So anyway, let me know in the comment sections down below what you guys think. Next up in news is the Tascam 2400. Tascam have released what they're calling their flagship audio console. They're calling it the 2400, but it is 16 mic pre's, 16 channels, each with individual phantom power, featuring their Tascam preamps, which are actually pretty good. And then each channel has EQ, and there's a bunch of channels that have inbuilt compression. It has up to 5 auxiliaries, and on the surface, it looks like a really cool console for the price. It's going for about $4,500, and it has some really cool options. Obviously, multi-channel recording. It has inserts on channels 1 to 12. Now, this for me is a bit of a problem, because if I want 16 channels of audio, like with 16 inputs, I probably want to have 16 inserts as well. So they've cut down on the amount of inserts there. So that's, only 12 channels where you can actually patch in effects and other processing. They do have master bus processing with a send and return loop. So then you can send your master bus out to some other processing like bus compressors or other EQs and things like that as well. They have some groups where you could send subgroups and then process those. And yeah, it looks like an exciting little unit for not too much money. And you're getting some EQs and compression on board with the console as well. Now, some drawbacks would be that the inserts are all on top of the desk. So right near the preamp, right kind of here are your inserts, not on the back of the console. And same as the preamp inputs. So might be a bit tricky for certain setups where you need those usually to be hidden behind the console. But some people might prefer that because then they can patch freely in and out of gear. So for a home studio or a project studio, this might actually be a better setup. Anyway, it's a cool little console for project studios, probably aimed more at the home studio and project studio markets where people want more channels. And I've used Tascam gear before. Their more current products are pretty great in regards to their preamp quality. They've got a lot of headroom, they're quite nice and clean, but they're also not known for like warmth or anything like that, obviously like a Neve or something like that. But you know, it's all in the price. So let me know in the comment sections down below. Are you guys looking at a console like this for your own home studios? Is this a product that interests you? Either way, it looks like a pretty cool piece of gear. Speaking of cool gear for your home studio, there is a new company that has just come out called Z&H Designs. Now, they have some awesome products that they've just released. And just to be transparent, they have actually reached out to me and they should be sending me some equipment for review very soon. And I'm really excited to test out their equipment and see what it's all about. And I thought you guys might be interested in them too. They have a bunch of really cool gear. They have a 19-inch rack unit version of the Sontec EQ, which is a mastering grade EQ. If anyone knows the Sontec EQ or the Massenburg EQ, that is basically what this EQ is based on. And it's a 5-band parametric EQ based on the Sontec MEP250. Very cool. They have limited stock of this. They told me the 1178, which actually has vintage components in it. It's the stereo 1176, but it also has dual mono. You can actually use each of the channels independently, which is super clever. And they have independent attack and release times, which is different to the original. On the original, you had 2 channels, but they shared the same attack and release and compression ratios. On this one, you have to share the compression ratios, but you can set 2 completely different attack and release times, therefore kind of getting really 2 compressors for the price of 1. And this is priced at $1,900 US. That is a bargain for this compressor. The original DIYRE compressors usually go for, you know, around 4 or 5 grand in Australia anyway, and that's in the used market. Man, to pick up a new one for that kind of price for 2 grand or under, pretty awesome. Like that obviously would be closer to 3.5 grand here, but still, man, brand new, very cool pricing there. And they also have some awesome 500 series gear. They have a parametric EQ based on that Sontec EQ we mentioned earlier. They have a version of that in the 500 series. It's a 4-band version. With the way the parametric EQs and stuff are set out and the bells, it actually looks kind of somewhere in between that EQ and like an SSL EQ. The curves might be different obviously to an SSL, but you know, layout wise, it looks a lot like the SSL. You've got these bell buttons here. Very cool. It would be a great all-round EQ if it sounds something similar to that Sontec EQ where you can use it to brighten up stuff on a master bus, but then also use it like a full parametric EQ while mixing or tracking as well. It could be a very versatile, very cool sounding EQ. So I'm excited to hear what that sounds like. And they also offer the V560, which is the API 560 graphic EQ. This is an exciting piece of gear too. I would love to try a pair of those. And what's cool about this company is they make all their gear in-house and they're offering different colors and variations on all their hardware, where you can pick the colors of the knobs and the color of the front panel and stuff like that, which is really awesome because you can customize your own equipment to how you want it to look. And then they're selling some individual parts like VU meters, input and output transformers, stuff like that. So really exciting company. As I said, they have reached out and they are going to potentially be sending me some equipment equipment really soon, so stay tuned for that. And let me know in the comment sections, what do you think about this company? I've seen some questions about them online. They do manufacture their stuff in China. They are, however, based in the UK. Whatever. Most of our stuff is made in factories in China, let's be real. What is most important to me is, do these pieces of equipment follow the right kind of circuit topology? Do they have high quality components in them? Do they, most importantly, sound good? Anyway, sign off in the comment sections down below and let me know what you guys think of Z&H Designs. In other exciting news, you guys might have caught that DIYRE have started shipping out their Neve clones, the 73p. And if you haven't seen me talking about this yet, the 73p is this 500 series Neve preamp, and it features exactly what you would hope to see: Carnhill transformers and a really interesting output transistor design over here, the power regulator transistor, which they feel is one of the most important components to the original's sound in the topology. Really cool unit, and yeah, they've shipped them out to everyone that has pre-ordered them, and I just got mine, so stay tuned. If you guys want to see step-by-step build guides on these units, I'll have them starting next week, so really soon I'll have those videos up online. And I just want to give a shout out to Peterson Goodwin and Jesse Gimbel from DIYRE for reaching out to me and sending me one of these units. Thank you very much. But yeah, you know what to expect on this channel: build videos, tests and shootouts between other vintage Neve gear and clones, and all of that will be coming real soon. So make sure that you hit subscribe down below. Let me know in those comment sections, what do you want to see me shoot the 73p out against first? The sound sculptor stuff that I have, or maybe if enough people want to see it, I can get a handle on some actual Neve 500 series stuff and shoot that out as well. Anyway, let me know in those comment sections. Now, last but not least, for this week's news, there is a plugin that I want to show you all as promised, and this one isn't free this week, but it is very cool, and it's on discount. Now, it's going for 109 Australian dollars. It's from the company Sound Theory, who are famous for doing the Golfos plugin, and the new plugin they have is called Kraftur. Hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, what it is a clipper and a saturator all in one, and it can also do multi-band saturation, which is awesome. Super cool. And while they got some information here, what we really need to do is, like with all plugins, is jump into a session and check it out and have a listen. Today's band is a band I've been working with in the studio called Krankwalk. I've mentioned them in other previous videos, and this is their track that is almost finished for final mixing and mastering, but go check them out. I'll put their links down below.
You all the time, waiting to be left free.
And over here on my master bus, I have my usual chain, which is my SSL G bus hardware, going to some FabFilter EQ, just some basic stuff, then the Kraftur, and then a Pro L2. And what this plugin is allowing me to do is clip the signal a little bit by a couple of dB.
You all the time, waiting to be left free.
I'll bypass it. I love this. I love that this big bypass thing comes up. It's actually super handy for shootout videos. Very clever, guys. Very clever. I love that. I love that it grays everything out. And what it does, it has this drive function to saturate the different frequencies in the lows, mids, and highs. And you can select those how you want. You can actually move them up and down. Very cool. And then you've got a clipper over here. And then what that allows you to do is control your transients a little more when they hit your limiter. Turn that clipper off. You can see that I'm getting some transients sneaking through, getting a bit loud, maybe sucking down my limiter. So what's cool about that is I can turn the clipper on, start clipping some stuff.
You're always on my mind. I think about you all the time.
And you can manage that and then push into stuff to get things sounding louder. Now, before we get into looking at the LUS of this track, what I want to say as a caveat is if an artist sends me a track and they want it to be a certain loudness to compare to their reference tracks per se, I'm going to push things as loud as I can, as long as it still sounds good and isn't getting obliterated, and try and maintain the dynamics as much as possible, even if that thing becomes a complete sausage. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about what the client wants. And if they send me a track that is really, really hard limited, I'm going to do the same because that's part of the sound that they're chasing. All right, so little caveat there. So let's jump in. And one of the reference tracks they sent me was an old school metal track from an artist you should all know called Pantera. So it's hitting about minus 8.3 peak LUFS and like 10 integrated. All right, cool. So I'm going to aim to probably overshoot that a little bit because I know I can.
Give you all the time. I wish for our dream.
You know, we're getting up to around almost minus 9 there, which is pretty good. All right, and starting to sound really on point with that. Now, if I do a shootout comparing those two tracks, we're really getting into the ballpark of that loudness. And what's really helping that get to that loudness whilst keeping the clarity and the punchiness is Kraftur. It's awesome. It's really, really helping the L2 limiter do its thing by clipping some of those really hard-hitting transients from the kick and snare that need to be punching through the mix the way they are. And it's bringing everything up and around that and just really helping push the loudness up. So it's kind of working like a maximizer might or a multiband compressor might by doing some multiband saturation and clipping at the same time. It's a really awesome plugin. They're not paying me for this review at all. I bought it out of my own money. I actually trialed it for a while and then paid for it because it was so good. So if you're looking to achieve louder, fuller, bigger masters, or at least louder mixes even from your master bus, the Kraftur plugin might be for you. So that's it for this week. What are you most excited about? Let me know in those comment sections down below. And if you have any questions about any of the products or equipment that I've talked about, or even mix bus or master bus processing, you can reach me at Mitch at the DIYRecordingstudio.com. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'm Mitch from the DIYRecordingstudio.com. I'll catch you soon.
Think about you all the time. Waiting to be let free so you can be with me.